Up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, bullhornbetty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the bullhornbetty Kids Club.
The legacy of the Murdaughs stretch very far in South Carolina. Behind these gates lie deadly secrets. Secrets only Alec Murdaugh himself know. On June 7th, 2021, Alec Murdaugh hatched a deadly secret, plotting against his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. But what brought us to this point starts with Mallory Beach. Mallory Beach was killed in a boating accident by Paul Murdaugh, Alec Murdaugh's son, and it was going to trial, and Alec was about to pony up financial records. Those financial records were going to uncover a financial scheme hatched by none other than Alec Murdaugh himself. Right before going to court over the boating accident, Alec Murdaugh's wife, Maggie, and son Paul were brutally executed at the dog kennels at their home in Low Country, South Carolina, the property known as Moselle. Shortly after the murder of his wife, Maggie, and his son Paul, he had a foiled suicide plot at a local church nearby. Alec had a friend try to shoot him in the head region, which again failed, and he went to the hospital where it was a superficial wound, leaving everybody to believe this was a foiled suicide attempt to garner sympathy from the community. This foiled attempt was captured on camera at the local church. Alec Murdaugh received 2 life sentences for the death and murder of his wife Maggie and his son Paul. After Alec's double homicide conviction of his wife Maggie and his son Paul, he has since set his eyes on the clerk of Colton County, Becky Hill.
Welcome to the Bullhorn
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work. We will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America. And more importantly, God bless our victims. What is up, my beautiful people of YouTube and X? It's nice to see you this beautiful morning. I'm up, I'm awake. It's a beautiful day out there. It's Happy Hump Day where we're sliding into our weekend. We're going to be enjoying it. Hopefully, at least some of us, right? We've got a lot of stuff that we are going over today. We're going to try to pack it all into one show. If we can, we may have to break it out into a couple shows because we only try to do this 2 hours or so. So we'll see where we get in my very aggressive segment. Some of the things that we're going to be discussing today is the 911 call. We're hearing right now that Laken Riley's phone may have dialed 911 during the altercation that led to her death. Audrey Cunningham was put to rest. We're going to be touching on that. Has been something a little weird happened. Rex Heuermann was caught on photograph back in 2015 on a train. It was a little weird. It was a guy mocking him in part by saying something like, "This is going to be me in a few years if I continue to work at CVS," or something like that, something to that effect. We'll go over it in just a second. But it was a funny, a funny, stupid remark that he posted. And he happened to remember it. And he thought, that guy resembled Rex. And he went back and looked at it. And sure enough, it was Rex Heuermann on that commuter train back in 2015. Also, some weird phenomenons come up because, we've been following the Gilgo 4. We've been following Rex Heuermann, and we know the case surrounding the 4 victims he is now charged with their murder. And the issue is there were other girls and Asian male dressed up like a woman also out there in the area that Rex was dumping the 4 at. And 2 of those victims were dismembered. So you can imagine when we start hearing about severed parts popping up in New York, we're all kind of like, we kind of feel like there was more than one person dumping out there.
And so we're finding out that there are 4 people now in custody for that. And it sounds like it was a domestic dispute. Also, the reason why we had Alec Murdaugh intro is because 1 year has since passed since that man was convicted of his wife and son's double homicide. A year. It doesn't even feel like a year because we've been back and forth in court so much with Alec Murdaugh and his defense team that it felt like it was all running together. Like this just happened. It's been a year. We also have some good news in Michael Monkey Vaughan's case. At least we're keeping our fingers crossed and praying really hard that we have some good movement in his case, because they sent his file back to the state attorney a second time. One of the issues in there, we're going to dive a little deeper into it, was apparently they couldn't link that Michael, this is going to sound really clinical and very, and I'm sorry, it's not that I'm not sympathetic to everything going on. It's just that we're discussing this crime case. So I just want to forewarn that the language that's used is going to be, could be very offensive to some people. So if you have trauma, I don't like giving these disclaimers. I feel like if you have trauma, you probably shouldn't be in the true crime genre. If it triggers you, you know, that's probably not the best place for you to be. But I digress. Just for this particular one, I'm going to, because Michael Monkey Vaughan is so special, especially to me. They couldn't link the fact that his body was in the backyard. Okay. So now it's coming to be said that because they were able to now link and provide the evidence that Michael was in their backyard, they believe that they've dealt with all the issues that the state attorney had with the file when they presented it the first time. So it sounds like now, because if you remember when Stacey Wandra got out of jail, he wanted to go to social media. He wanted money for interviews. He wanted, you know, people to be sympathetic to him and to think that he was a good guy and he was no part of this, that, you know, those 3 were by themselves and shame on them. But his timeline didn't work out. And every single channel he went to, it seemed like he modified his timeline to answer the questions that new creator had for that, you know, for Stacey. And so we noticed that literally off the bat, because he did one interview. I can't remember how it was, but I think he did one interview with Brooks. He did one interview. I can't remember when he did his interview with Dolly and Justice for All. I can't remember who had it first. I feel like it was Dolly, and then I heard him go on Justice, or maybe I heard his on Justice and then heard him on Dolly. Either way, I took copious notes of all these interviews. And one of the things that I noticed really right off the rip was the timeline kept changing. So on Dolly's, I think he said he did something at 5:30, and on Justice, he said that same event happened at 6:30. So he's moving the timeline back an hour. And I don't know really why he did that, but it seemed like every single creator's channel he went to, he would modify his story. So at one point, he started reaching out to these creators that he had connected with. I think he reached out to a number of them. I don't want to throw their names out, but he reached out to a number of them and said that he can no longer go on interviews online, or his defense attorney is going to leave, or going to quit his case, you know, withdraw from his case, because it looks like they're going to have an indictment for him in a couple weeks. And I remember a couple creators reached out to me and told me this. And I said, are you sure he's not pulling your leg because he's getting jammed up in all these questions and doesn't know how to answer them? But it sounds like it must have been true. But the only reason why he's not being indicted or doesn't have handcuffs around him is because the state attorney, the case wasn't complete to the level the state attorney needed it to be. Well, it sounds like it is now. So we're going to be going on, coming up to that. We're going to discuss that and see, are charges coming, you know, and if so, who? Elijah Vu, the car is in custody. Apparently there is a car that they have now in police custody. They want to find out if anybody saw the car. It seems like they're moving the timeline back to February 19th between 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. on February 19th. So I'm assuming that they now believe or have credible information that leads them to believe that something happened to Elijah Vu the day before. They want anybody that's in the, I guess, Mishicot area. You know, there's that Shoto River. They had a heavy law enforcement and search presence in and around that area. If you have Ring doorbell cameras, if you have any type of footage, CCTV footage, if you are a business, they're asking you to review the footage for anything that's odd, and may see that car in it. Apparently that car belongs to a different person, none of the people that are in jail. And so when I was reading the press conference, and we'll go over that as well, it almost implied that this car is owned by a third party, but the third party they don't believe is involved. So it sounds like they must have borrowed this car from someone potentially. That's what I was getting at it, but we'll go over it and get your thoughts on it. And then another one of the cases is Madeline Soto. She's the 13-year-old girl that was here. You know, there's a lot of controversy around her mother, and what her mother may have known and when her mother may have known it. We're learning that the boyfriend was harming Madeline, it appears, for a couple years. It's very, very disturbing news. It's heartbreaking news. And, you know, I want to give a different perspective on the situation. Not that it's true. And, you know, we have to watch this case very closely because we don't like anybody that puts a child in harm's way, period. We had the difficult task of, you know, basically calling out Audrey Cunningham's father, Joshua Cunningham, better known as Lucky. But in all fairness, again, he put his daughter in jeopardy, not once, but twice, with these animals that have these similar type of crimes attached to them. And one of them took her life. This was not a one-off. This was not a, oh, oops, I'm sorry. This has happened before. So, you know, sometimes it's not easy, but how do you make an example without making an example? Parents, your children are hopeless and helpless. They're under your direction and your care. And when a parent makes an irresponsible decision, sometimes those irresponsible or poor decision making injures your child. And here lately, we've been having a lot of these issues where women are allowing these men to injure their child. Quit being a desperate woman. You know, I don't get it. Like, I feel like these women are so desperate to have a man in their life, they lose all common sense in some respects. Not that it's happening, but, you know. I'm not understanding this, so. Okay, I don't know what that's all about, but we'll get to it. I just go ahead and delete those. I don't know if I want to just yet. That's what I'm talking about right there. So those are the things that we're going to go over. So choosy, heretic, choose, whatever that is. I don't know whether you're here to draw or not, but good morning. Mama Llama up in the house. Drew, Jules, the real me too. Nice to see you. Tammy Sue, Lulu's Nana. It's nice to see you as well. Manic Mama T, Bayou Babe, our beautiful Pebbles. TL, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have? Rhonda, good morning, love. It's nice to see you. Angie, good morning. Devil Doll, Net L, Mike Stevens, nice to see you. TLC is me. CES, okay. I love. Hey, you know what? I can't go wrong when there's just letters, right? Katrina, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Who else do we have up in the house? Sweetie Pie, good morning, lover. Love bug. Good Lord. Stumbling on my words this morning. Winter Girl, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Who else do we have? Thunder 420. Good morning, love. Good morning. MJ, Crafty Chris, it's nice to see you. Lori Lowe, I know I went a little long on my intro, so now I'm catching up. 19 minutes, nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. MJ, the newest member of the coffee club. Or is she? She's been around a while. It's nice to see you, love. Thank you. And do we have mold? We have a lot more. You guys were Lori Lowe. Did I say good morning to you, Lori? I'm not sure if I did or not. Well, if I didn't, good morning. Our beautiful Sonia up in the house. Don't forget to hit that like button as you guys are coming in. I know we have a few people. What do we got? We got a few on Twitter, a few on Bullhorn Betty, and a few here on the True Crime. So if you guys would go out there and give a thumbs up, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and get started. If I miss you, got a secret, can you keep it? If you want a secret, Cap, keep it to yourself. That is the rules. That is the rules. Cheryl, KB, I see you. Teresa, it's nice to see you guys. I am Team Summer. Good morning. Just seeing if I missed anybody else. Ashley's World, good morning. I think I got everybody. Southern Grammy, good morning. Anybody else that I missed? This is just a blanket good morning. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is going to be related to the 911 call. And I just wanted to go over it. You're going to have to bear with me because I'm working on one screen and I will do the best I can. But let's see what they have.
So on opposite sides rallied outside.
People for and against stricter immigration policies are speaking up after Laken Riley's murder. Atlanta News First Madeline Montgomery is live at Athens City Hall for us tonight. So Madeline, this has really caused a division in the county. Pretty much everybody's picking a side.
And I have to say it is. We've watched like meetings, like everything is erupting. Like people feel unsafe. When you start getting constituents that are angry and concerned, guys, they're worried for their safety. We can't fault them for that. They have grave concerns. I mean, they do have a young, promising student in the morgue. They have every right to be.
Side.
It really has. There are folks who are accusing the mayor, the commissioners here in Athens, Clark County, of making Athens a sanctuary city, something that they deny. And then there are other folks who are saying that
they can deny it all they want, but the policies were actually signed by the mayor. Like his signature is literally on it. So they can deny it all they want, but the proof is in the pudding. They put these people in jeopardy with their BS and PC.
people who are making this an immigration issue are distracting from the fact that this is a tragedy that is now making a death of a young life political.
Well, you guys know what I have to say about that, don't you? Making this young girl every single thing that goes on. If it's against the right, it's political. Whether it's people in the streets or whatever, right? Every opportunity they have, it's gun rights, gun violence. We're screaming gun right? So when they everybody else can hyper political any other murder as long as it goes against one party, in my opinion. But people are starting to say that we understand that this girl's life is gone. And this young girl's life is gone because of poor policies and stupid ass people making feel good policies in their community that puts their residents in harm's way. You know, one thing about being a politician is you got to make decisions for the betterment of your community. And sometimes those decisions are not popular. Sometimes those decisions are the right decisions to make, not because it's easy to do, because it's the right thing to do. And they forgot that, in my opinion. They forgot that, and this young girl's life is gone. And they're still going to be complaining and trying to pass the buck. Well, let's not make it about this. But it is about this. Because at the end of the day, Laken would be here right now if this man was not here illegally, had been stopped several times by law enforcement for doing illegal conduct. And everybody passed the buck and passed the buck. Why? Because they didn't want to do a little bit of paperwork? Yeah, we're going to make it a political talking point because it deserves to be a political talking point. And I'm pretty sure her parents wouldn't disagree. Just saying.
A town divided by street and by stance.
When actually this is an issue of patriarchy and violence against women. And the solutions put forward by,
Violence against women. Yes, from a person that is from a culture where violence against women is okay. If you haven't noticed, lady, he is in our jail right now because violence against women here in our country is not acceptable like it was in Venezuela. Just a little observation.
Mike Collins by that side will not do anything to save the lives of women, would not have saved Laken Riley.
Oh, really? So by us enforcing our immigration policy here in our country would not have saved Laken Riley her life. That is according to one person's opinion.
So my support, not only for our community, but most importantly for Laken Riley and her family, as I can hear over my shoulder, justice for immigrants as well. But you know what? We need justice for Riley.
Making their voice.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we understand what was happening here. There's a Laken Riley event going on, and you've got protesters protesting immigrant rights. Really? I wonder how many people in that group protesting immigrant rights would actually be there if they were sitting in the parents' shoes of Laken Riley. It's disgusting to me that somebody that doesn't belong here has more rights than somebody that does, like me and you. It's sad. And just look at that. You're literally basically protesting Laken for an immigrant that should not be here. I find that, I don't know what word I can use. Appalling? Disturbing? Offensive?
This is heard on the steps of Athens Town Hall and inside.
You are going to resign.
People accusing the mayor and commissioners of making Athens a sanctuary city due to a 2019.
I just want to say I'm very proud of Athens and the community coming together and having their voice heard.
Resolution.
Humbly remove yourselves willingly and immediately or suffer the wrath of we the people following due process.
That resolution specifically addresses the government's support for the Athens immigrant population, saying it, quote, strives to foster a community where individuals and families of all statuses feel safe and are able to prosper and can breathe free.
Prosper. The only way they're prospering is by taking a job from an American citizen. I just want to make sure that's clear as well.
I've lost a piece of my safety with her passing, but I don't want my town to go down with her. I felt safe in Athens in large part because of the 2019 resolution.
The one thing everyone had in common, still mourning the loss of a young life.
Out there with racism signs, when people are advocating for Laken Riley, I don't even know what to say. I literally, oh, thank you, Jen. God bless you. God bless you. Oh, look at that. Yeah, nice to see you, Julie. Nice to see you guys. So, I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Got to help those immigrants, don't we? At all costs.
Commissioners responded to all of those public comments. They said that they do want to work on making sure that Athens is safer, making sure that UGA's campus is safer, to make sure that what happened to Laken.
I want to know how many parents are feeling great about their policies. I bet you there are so many parents that sent their kids to this college having no earthly idea of the policies of their community. I mean, I'm just still in awe. And the fact that the UGA wants to make sure that they can't even do a proper background check. They put his brother, which has also committed crimes, around the students on campus, allowed to go to and from with all the what? Okay, whatever. So anyways, let me get this off here real quick because I wanted to go over some of the information in here. So it says right here that in Athens, Georgia, an open records request unveiled new details about the death investigation of nursing student unalived or murdered on the University of Georgia campus last month. Laken Riley's phone made a 911 call. The Athens Clarke County Police Department confirmed it was answered to Atlanta News First, a record request related to the incident. However, the request for the call was declined pursuant to whatever that pursuant thing, which states that an investigation can withhold it when a death is captured on the recording. So they're not releasing it because apparently that's interesting, because I was just I'm wondering whether that 911 call actually recorded what was going on. And it says, which states that an investigation can withhold it when a death is captured on the recording. Pretty interesting. The request by Atlanta News First was made so that we could better understand what led to her death, along with what the response by law enforcement was. The tragedy happened during a nationwide AT&T outage. So we also wanted to make certain that did not hamper Riley's attempt to call for help. It is unclear if Riley herself made the phone call, as well as what time the phone call was made. One of the multiple charges against Ibarra, the 26 accused of killing her, is obstructing or hindering a person from making an emergency telephone call. On February 22nd, Riley's roommate called campus police after Riley did not return from her run. Less than an hour later, they found Riley's remains behind the nearby Lake Henderson with visible injuries. The coroner office would later identify the cause of death as blunt force trauma, and Ibarra's arrest warrants allege that he disfigured her skull by hitting her with an unknown object. That was similar language in the Rachel Warren case. Alongside hindering an emergency call, Ibarra's charges included malice murder, felony murder, concealing the death of another person, kidnapping, false imprisonment, aggravated assault, aggravated battery. He remains in Clarke County Jail with no bond. So there you have that. And I think everything else is pretty much... Oh, here was a different article that I wanted to go over with you guys as well. This is related to... Let me get my face off here and get the I didn't realize it was up. There we go. Yeah, it is very disturbing. It's very disturbing. So ICE was not notified about the alleged Laken Riley's killer in the past run-ins with the police. So they're basically saying that he's had multiple run-ins with law enforcement, which it's now been corroborated across multiple news sources. And they never contacted ICE. They never notified ICE. They never did anything. They just let him go. Let him go. So there is something going on in the state of Georgia. And I've got to say I support this But it frustrates me because if they just enforced the laws that are currently on the books, why do we need an act to force them to enforce the laws that are currently on the books? It's the most asinine, oxymoron, dumbass shit I've ever seen in my life, that we need an act to tell law enforcement to enforce the freaking law. But we do. The Laken Riley Act cracks down on illegal migration, and it was presented by Representative Collins. The bill gives states more power when dealing with migrants who commit crimes. Offenses like theft, burglary could result in detainment. Like those things can't result in detainment now? It's just, I can't with the political crap. I can't. I'm getting so over it because it's just nonsense. And the only reason why they do this is to grandstand, to show that they are doing something. No, you're not. You know what? If you were doing something, you would be standing with a freaking bullhorn saying to enforce the freaking laws on the books. Not trying to get your name on another freaking bill that's going to go nowhere. But hey, I digress. Representative Collins, standards for detainment are a little too high right now. So they're saying the standard for detainment is too high. Why? Because people have put in stuff that is not accordance with our law. They're put in directives. Directives are not law. Laws on our books. That means if you put a badge on, you are here to enforce and uphold our Constitution and our laws on the books. Not directives, the law. Just saying. A new federal bill introduced by Georgia lawmaker representing the district where nursing student Laken Riley was killed would give states more power to fight federal migration laws when it comes to crimes committed by migrants. The Laken Riley Act is sponsored by Representative Mike Collins. He's a Republican from Georgia, who represents the area where Riley was killed while on a run along a popular University of Georgia running trail. Again, I just want to impress that Rachel Morin was also killed on a popular running trail on the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail near where Jose Ibarra may have been living, or within a little while, not necessarily. And there was also apartments right there as you approach the trail. Jose Ibarra is a migrant who entered the U.S. illegally, has been arrested in connection with the slaying. So we already know all that, so I'm going to skip all that. And we know that ICE wasn't notified. And then now we're going to get over. I'm going to come back over to you guys real quick and just check the feed to see if there's any questions. Okay, I'm back. Whew. That's a lot. And you know what? It irritates me. When we start reading and breaking down these cases, it just seems like if everything was done properly, this may not have happened. It's just a frustrating reality to realize that all of our fail-safes failed. It's always happening when you're trying to be quiet. You end up making a loud. I know. That's always the case. Honey Dip, it's nice to see you this morning. Good morning. We have to follow the law. Why do they not? I don't know. It seems like the haves and have not. We have one rules for Americans and another rules for anybody that's not American. The last time I checked, we're supposed to be applying the law equally across the board. My only problem is I would assume that privilege is to American citizens. But whatever. I just feel if you're here illegally, you go back to where you came from and come over here the right way. If you want to be here and you've started a life here, save your money, go back and come back legally. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. If we were to break into any other country illegally, we would be in their prison. Do you understand that? If we, the American people, broke into any other country and they found out we would be sitting in their jail. I just want to make sure everybody understands that. So why are we having special privileges to people that we would not have a special privilege for? I don't know. Been a hell of a week already. My sister found, geez, Louise. MJ, you and Steffers should chit chat. You guys are both around each other. I should chit chat, hang out with each other, be friends. And you guys, yeah, I always like getting with people close by. That's why I'm okay with being a homebody anymore. I agree with that. I agree with that. Like my car's going into the shop on Friday. It's going to be there for 2 weeks because I have to have my ABS module rebuilt. We've known about this repair. You know, we've scheduled it because I've been trying to save for the repair, and so it's going in. And so my mom I call my mom and I just let her know. I said, you know, my car's going into the shop for 2 weeks. I said, they got to rebuild this module. And it's not really that the car needs, it sounds like, oh my God, it's going in for 2 weeks. It's huge repair. It's not, it's shipping costs because he's got to take the part out. He's got to ship it to who rebuilds it, and which is in the Panhandle. And then they fix it and ship it back to him. So it's actually, the time is the shipping time, you know, not necessarily the repair time. So long story short, I was telling my mom, and mom's like, well, do you want me to bring one of the cars over and let you use it? I'm like, well, no, not really. I mean, I don't go anywhere. When I get hungry, I order food, right? I mean, I order groceries. The groceries wind up on my doorstep, right? So I really don't have, I've been such a homebody lately that I really don't have a need to drive, right? I go to my meetings. So one of my, I got to reach out to the other meeting goer, but that's the only thing I worry about is my other obligations that I've got to get to. So we'll see how it all works out. I mean, if nothing else, my mom lives 20 minutes away. She can come over here, pick my butt up, and take me where I need to go. Chauffeur me around, right? Chauffeur me around. This is why I'm going. Yep, that I don't even. That's it. I pay for that free delivery service from them. I think it's like $99 a year. It's a lifesaver. You don't even have to worry about it. The only thing I don't like is the tipping of the driver. Not that I don't like tipping the drivers. I just feel like I'm buying the stuff and they are providing me a service, so I need a tip. But I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. I'm just cheap. Right? I don't like the 20%. I pay it begrudgingly. You know, I know that it's not the deliverer's fault that everything's so high. I have to say it, but this is only the start of the issue. Yeah, it is. It is because we don't know what they have in store for us, right? They're already here. Millions. And that's the most terrifying thought is, you know, people have been in this PC call. Oh, they're just family. No, they're not. They're fighting age men. We have no earthly idea what is in store for us. But I can tell you that we have millions of fighting age men right here in our country from all over the world, including in ISIS-ran countries. That to me should scare everyone. Everyone. And why is China sneaking people in through the Mexican border? That's the part I don't get. Why is China sneaking people through our borders? Doesn't make sense. All right, so I think I've got, just see if there's anything else I'm missing. I don't think I am. So we're going to go on and head over to Audrey Cunningham's case. Many of you know that she was laid to rest. So this is just you know, bring some attention to her, bring some attention to her case. This is a case that is just very heartbreaking. It was another case. Most of these cases we cover were preventable. They were preventable by parents just protecting their children. And this is one of them where the father failed to protect his daughter because he needed to be the cool guy and wanted to hang out with the cool people and brought a monster into his home. But this was the second monster he brought into his home. The monster before this also had some bad charges related to children, was an actual RSO, and had moved off the property right before Steve McDougal moved onto the property. So this man had two bad guys around his young, tender-age daughter. One of those bad guys took her life. That is why I'm so upset. And if there were this many in a short amount of time, then I'd have to believe that he put her around more. Oh, Julie, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me get back over to that side of the screen. Aw, thank you. Get down. Where are they? Aw, there they are. Thank you. God bless you. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Julie thank you. God bless you, Julie. Thank you so much for that. Let me get back over here real quick. And so I just wanted to let you know, this is just a reminder that she was finally put to rest. And also to remind our audience, there are, in many cases, a lot of the kids that we cover aren't found. Cody Bigsby hasn't been found. Harmony Montgomery hasn't been found. Summer Wells hasn't been found. The West Boys have never been found. Michael Monkey Vaughan has never been found. We have a lot of beautiful kids that we know are gone that have never been found. Audrey Cunningham could have been one of those names and faces. And by the great work of law enforcement, the community, and their partners, she was located. And she was finally able to rest at peace. And so I just wanted to let everybody aware of that. I don't think there's really much more other than I wanted to read some. It says that the community of Livingston bid a heartbreaking farewell to 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham, whose life was tragically cut short, allegedly by a family friend. The funeral services for Audrey, who was found dead near the Trinity River, not near the Trinity River, it was in the Trinity River, on February 20th, took place yesterday. Describing as precious, gentle child with radiant smile and a deep affection for animals, Audrey's untimely demise has left profound void in the hearts of those that knew her. Reverend Paul Cahan, the officiant of the service, offered words of solace to the child's grieving family. I cannot even imagine what you have been going through. The pain, this tragedy, this caused the entire family. Our hearts ache with sadness as we offer our prayers for you and for your beautiful daughter and granddaughter. The news of Audrey's disappearance and subsequent murder reverberated across the nation, sparking an outpour of support and sympathy. I can tell you, I'm very sympathetic to the family. My heart bleeds, but I have to say that it is not well taken how hard Lucky fought to keep Audrey's mother out of her life just to put these monsters in her life. I am very angry about that. I just feel like he fed her to the wolves. And I know that that's wrong for me to feel that way, but that's the way I feel. I don't think he intentionally did it, but it was his poor decisions that led to this child's death. And that child was his daughter. And we can't look past that. That this 11-year-old child was put in harm's way multiple times. Aw, well, Devil Doll, you feel better. You feel better. see what else we got here. And I think I'm done with that. I don't want to spend too much time on Audrey Cunningham. I think we really kind of went over everything with Rex Heuermann. And I'm sorry. Sorry about that. It just goes off every now and again. It'll just start just running and what have you. I'm trying to see if I really want to go through anything else, because I think that's... Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Where are we on this? We went over part of this, the Rex Heuermann, and then here's the parts.
Found scattered around Long Island. This after police make arrest in the case of human remains discovered in a park. Good evening at 5 o'clock. I'm Sandra Book.
Just the title alone, right? As soon as you hear this, you're thinking, OMG, we knew that there was body parts near the Gilgo 4, and it just kind of, I don't know, it was like the PTSD of that second guy rearing its ugly head, and it was nothing like that. But I got to tell you, it perked my ears up. That's why it's on the show.
Went in for Sade.
And I'm Bill Ritter. The grisly discoveries we know began last Thursday when a group of students walking to school found a severed arm at the edge of a park in Babylon. A search of the park uncovered other remains, including a woman's head.
And it didn't end there. Authorities found more body parts today in West Babylon and Bethpage State Park. The discovery came after cops raided a home in Amityville. They spent the entire night there before taking 4 people into custody.
Lots to unpack here. Long Island reporter Shantae Lands live in...
When we first started hearing about this case, I got to be honest with you, I was hearing rumblings of them thinking that this was MS-13. And I don't know who the 4 people were that were arrested, or if they were affiliated or associated with any type of gangs or anything like that. But I remember that was brought up. So I'm interested in finding out who these people are. But I didn't put a whole lot of energy into searching this case. I just thought it was an interesting breaking news case. You know, body parts found in a park in Long Island. Like we've heard those headlines before. So it's not connected in any way, shape, or form with Rex Heuermann. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys saw that. What else do we have here? I got a whole stream of stuff, and we've already went through that. Alex Murdaugh's 1-year anniversary of being a piece of garbage. Oh, and here's Michael Monkey Vaughan. I wanted to read this to you. Let me see what we have for me. There we go. So I'm going to play is this a video? No, it's not a video. Okay. Nearly 3 years, the case of missing Michael Monkey Vaughan is being forwarded to Fayette County prosecutors. This is the second time it has been moved to the prosecutor's office. The case, and it's a very small statement. The case of missing Michael Monkey Vaughan of Fruitland has been ongoing for almost 3 years, and now the case is being handed over to the Fayette County prosecutor. According to KBOI, Fruitland Chief J.D. Huff has forwarded the case to the prosecutor for the second time, saying they believe there is enough evidence to show that Vaughan's body was once buried on the property of Sarah and Stacy Wandra. About a year ago, Fruitland police said in a press conference after a search that they had discovered evidence that Michael's remains were likely buried in the backyard at one point, but have since removed to an unknown location. Unknown location. So it is very, very possible, guys, that we're going to be in the next few weeks, we might finally start getting some arrests in the Michael Monkey Vaughan case. And we need that. Like the family needs this. They've been put through the ringer. You know, they've been put in a food processor and just, pureed. So they need justice, and this will never give them justice. Just like every other victim of crime, their families will never, ever, ever really get justice, because justice would be, being made whole again, being made complete. You're never whole again. You're never complete again. You have that loss into perpetuity. There is never justice in crimes like this, ever. This mom will never get over this. This is something this mom is going to deal with the rest of her life. Every time she looks at her other child, she'll always wonder, what would Michael be like? Where would he be? How smart would he be? She know he'd be smart. What would his children, what would her grandchildren look like? Those will never, ever, ever leave her mind. She is forever in a prison and sentenced to a slice of hell for the rest of her being on this earth. It's sad. But I'm glad there's movement. I'm glad they think they got all their nuts and bolts of the case. So now we're going to move over to Elijah Vu. Elijah Vu is the 3-year-old child that went missing in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. They were looking for any information. His family said that he went missing on February 20th around 8 a.m. We knew right off the bat that there was something law enforcement had picked up on because they were looking for footage all the way back to February 12th, which when you hear stuff like that, to me, in all fairness, it means they don't believe the person that reported the crime story. They want to, dot their I's and cross their T's because they try to limit that time of disappearance as close as possible so they can focus specifically on anything related to that time frame. And so when they broadened it up to the 12th, we were like, okay, well, they obviously don't believe the parents or the caregiver, the parent and caregiver. We learned after their arrest that they believed that the mom lied, Katrina Baur lied, and that Jesse Vang was responsible for whatever happened to Elijah. There was some evidence that led law enforcement to a couple of the landfills, and they've been searching one landfill extensively, which is about 40 miles away from where he disappeared. And I believe that landfill is actually in a separate county altogether. And they've been pouring over the garbage there. So obviously they feel like something, there's some type of evidence that they have that links them from his house over to that landfill. And from the information that I was seeing, now it's not corroborated, but just the information that was put out on social media, it appears that there was some dumping or something like that might have created that pathway to that landfill. So I'll leave that at that because I don't know what has been released. Because I don't monitor all social media accounts, so I don't know what has been released. But I haven't heard that information being released, and I would think that would go to the integrity of the investigation. So I don't want to kind of go into those conversations just yet. I'll do some more research and see what I can disclose and what I can't. But they are out there. So now I'm starting to feel like they have, because remember with Quentin Simon, what made them really focus on that landfill is they had a cadaver hit. And it not just a cadaver hit at the, the receptacle, the trash receptacle. And that's what led them over to the landfill. So I feel like that it must be something similar to that. Hey, Tink, it's nice to see you. I feel like it has to be something similar to that. You see what I'm saying? And that's why they're out at the landfill. They have something that led them there. They didn't just say, oh, let's just check the landfill and let's put a lot of resources in the landfill just in case, It doesn't work like that. So, and then now they found this car, and what they're saying about this car is basically we've got this car. Let's just read the statement here. Let's just read the statement and get caught up on what they're saying, because it sounds a little weird to me and how they're wording this. And they're wording it, like I say, they do this. They're very strategic in their words to make sure they're only giving just enough out and they're not implying anything specific. Law enforcement from all over the state, in addition to the FBI, DCI, and DNR, assisted in searching rural areas in Manitowoc County this morning and will continue to do so into the afternoon. Yesterday, we requested the public's assistance by reviewing their surveillance camera footage regarding a vehicle of interest. That vehicle is a 1997 four-door Nissan Altima, beige in color, bearing Wisconsin registration beginning with an A and ending with a 0. To clarify, law enforcement is currently in possession of the identified vehicle. Jesse Vang and Katrina Baur are not the owners of the vehicle. Our interest is not in the current owner of the vehicle, only in the camera footage captured on February 19, 2024, between the hours of 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. And they're asking anybody to please call their tip line at 844-267-6648 with any tips or leads, or if you experience technical difficulties or do not have access to upload your videos regarding the vehicle of interest. So that is telling me that they are specifically honing in on this vehicle, that this vehicle appears to have been borrowed by a third party, and they're not concerned about that third party's ownership. They're only concerned related to the whereabouts of that car on February 19th between 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. And so this is telling me that they must have got some type of information that this car was driven by either Jesse Vang or Katrina Baur during those time frames. It is also leading me to believe that law enforcement believes something happened, or at minimum that Elijah Vu was disposed of on the 15th between 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. on the 19th, the day before he was reported missing. So there's a lot that's coming from this statement from law enforcement that's leading me to believe these things. But the first thing is we're not focusing on the owner of this car. So anybody in the Two Rivers area, Wisconsin, they're looking for video footage with this vehicle in it. They need to know where this vehicle's path of travel was and set up a timeline for who was in this vehicle and at what specific times, because that vehicle could very well lead them to Elijah, and we need to help law enforcement, and that's the help that they're asking for. Any footage from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. on February 19th. They're looking for a gold or beige Nissan Altima 1997, or it is old. There's a lot of rust around the bottom of it. It's pretty identifiable, in my opinion, on a video camera. It's not a nice car. It's a beater. It's a beater that's rusting. It's a rust bucket. So this should be easily to identify on your footage. So if you have any footage with the car in it, or you don't know whether that's the car, send it over to law enforcement. They'll do their thing. They just need the leads coming in. So I think that's really the latest in the Wisconsin. Let's see, when did Elijah go missing? And see, they're not updating. Like, I don't like the way, and the cash bond has been, I think, upgraded to $25,000 with any information leading to Elijah or the arrest of the conviction of Elijah. So there's $25,000. I hear that the FBI ponied up some much needed funds, $15,000 worth of funds for Elijah, which I'm very, obviously we're all thankful for. We would really like to find out what happened to him and bring him home. There's something else going on, guys. And is it this one? I think it's this next segment. And lastly, I'm sure everybody heard that there was some accidental photos released in the Madeline Soto case. Some people are calling for the resignation of the law enforcement officer that is responsible for accidentally releasing those. I'm not going to have a position on this. Apparently, it was an accidental post. They were posting something about an event that was for the elderly, and somebody had grabbed a wrong photo. Maybe it was mislabeled and accidentally stuck in, because whenever you're taking photos, or you have folders that organize your photos so they don't get commingled. And even like my Idaho 4, It's so large. It has over 1,000 videos and photos in that particular folder. And when I was going through some of the photos, I realized there were some of my Christmas photos in there, that they just got misclassified. Apparently, when I did the bulk move over to that particular file on my iCloud, I must have accidentally commingled some of my personal photos in with it. So I'm just trying to break it down. Like, I don't think it was intentional, and people like, well, this kind of mistake shouldn't happen. Whenever we start putting non-human expectations on a human being, I think is where we start having our misconceptions about police officers. At the end of the day, law enforcement is no different than anybody else. They make mistakes. Why? Because they are human. Okay? Human beings, by definition, are not perfect beings. Okay? We make mistakes. We make, unintentional mistakes. We have accidents. Some of those accidents cost us our own lives. So this whole thing that because an officer made a mistake, now he deserves to lose his job? What kind of freaking idiot would say something like that? If he caused an issue that caused somebody extra harm, there's a path forward. It's called a civil suit. It's called a civil suit. We don't go and fire people because they're human beings. If that's the case, if now we get fired from our job for making mistakes, guys, you might as well just go ahead and put your resignation into your job today. Because I guarantee sometime today you're going to make a mistake. And if that's the standard, you don't deserve your job. But I know there are idiots out here that would be gunning for somebody's job for making an innocent mistake, whether or not they even have the factual information to derive. I mean, the only way I would think the guy should lose his job is if it was intentional. If he intentionally did something that caused harm to a case or whatever, and then I can kind of see, there's something a little more going on here. But you could clearly see the post was for a completely different topic. It was just a mere either classification mistake or something like that. And most likely wasn't even his mistake. Or maybe he was in maybe he did type it up himself. And, our things, we only get these little tiny, squares on them. Maybe he had a fat finger issue where he accidentally hit the wrong picture. I mean, those things happen. Now the man's got to lose his job because he makes an honest mistake. Not his service as a dedicated officer. I mean, his life of service to the community means nothing. It all comes down to this one innocent mistake. For everything, like people with this cancel culture, like, knock it off. We want people that intentionally hurt and harm people to lose their jobs. We want people that intentionally go out of their way to do horrible things and interfere with cases to be held accountable to that level. A person that makes an innocent and honest mistake at their job shouldn't be in fear of losing their job. It was one photo. Bad? Yes. And this whole thing about the public taking a photo with the guy coming out and everybody's up in arms. Boo! Freaking who? Cry me a river and build me a bridge. If I was in the same position, I would have done the same damn thing. And you know what? Everybody could be knocking at my door. And you know what I would say to them? Oh, well. Go run home to your mommy. Cry on her shoulder. I don't want to hear it. Making that lady take it down. Where's freedom of speech? Somebody doesn't like it and we just kowtow to the people that are... You know what? If I did that, I wouldn't be bullhorn Betty. If every time somebody came here and said they didn't like what I did and I just complied, where's the balls? You did nothing wrong. She did nothing freaking wrong. And quite frankly, I like the statement she posted under it. All these people with emotional and shit, like, get over your emotions. If you can't handle your emotions, quit getting into topics that you can't handle. When you start asking people to, starting to make sure that they can't put food on their table because you got a problem with your emotions, cut it out. Our country's entire, you guys are a bunch of, not you guys, but these people that are bitching about all this little petty stuff, you guys are a bunch of pansies. Like, knock it off. Get some freaking thick skin. I can't imagine. This bleeding heart that our country has is bleeding us to death. How many more people need to die because of bleeding hearts in this country? Okay? I'm not going to comply because you want to do this or that. You go do this or that and be comfortable doing this or that. You don't need my approval. The world doesn't owe you approval. And I damn sure don't owe you complying. This man made a mistake. If it was even him, it might have been one of his employees, but really now we're going to go after employees for making mistakes? What kind of animals are you? Chill out. Calm down. You guys are acting a little unhinged out there. It's okay. It's okay. It's not going to destroy the case like you knuckleheads think. We're all right. Just shh. Get some peace in your life. Get some peace. So many of you know that the state of Florida is enhancing online child exploitation penalties targeting grooming in new legislation. Again, I am just appalled that we need all this new legislation to enforce the laws on our books. But apparently we have politicians that need to make sure in this political environment that they're listening to our issues. The question is, what difference does it make if you ain't enforcing the laws now? What the hell is this bill going to do to make you enforce the laws after it's over and done with? But everybody deserves a trophy in this new world that we live in. So we'll give you a trophy for effort. We'll give you a trophy for effort. There's another disturbing, okay, here, now we're getting into the disturbing stuff. Okay. We don't understand what is going on in our country with our children. We just, whatever, we know about it. Every time a child is missing, we misdiagnose those missing children as being sold or, HT'd, ST'd, and everything like that. And I say, guys, you guys gotta quit jumping to that conclusion, because you're taken away from the fact that child went through something very, very brutal and most likely lost their lives. But there are situations in this country where these type of things like that happen in this country, in our country. We just had Grady Judd have a 228-person bust here in Florida. I love the work he does. I love the collaboration he does with other communities and law enforcement agencies, and really honing in and collaborating and taking all their strengths and all their weaknesses and putting them all together for a good cause, like cleaning up our streets and putting a light not only on our immigration policies. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that. My best friend called me yesterday and I forgot. She calls me during my lives and I forget every day after my lives are over to call her back. So this is the second time she called. So I gotta call her. Anyways. Where was I at? Let me look at my stuff. Oh, yeah. And so our children, we don't realize what's going on because, quite frankly, mainstream media, the not mainstream media, because we're going to be pulling these from news conglomerates. but I don't consider news conglomerates mainstream media, if that makes sense. And I try to explain it. Hey, Turkey Man, nice to see you. And I try to explain it like you have your sister stations. And these are the smaller local stations that run your local news, okay? And those are usually owned, even if they say WJTX or whatever it says, those are usually owned by NBC, ABC, Fox News, News Nation, a big mainstream media outfit that we know we've seen on news, on and online. They have a huge online presence. They are the parent company of these sister companies. So these are getting, and those small sister companies, those smaller branches locally, the local news is picking them up, but their parent companies are not. And many of us around the world and around this country rely on that megaphone that those large mainstream media national brands like Fox, News Nation can distribute out to the rest of us so we know what's going on around the country. We rely on them for that information. But what's happening is these stories are being ran locally, and the big companies aren't bringing them to the national stage. They're leaving them at the lower level, so we're ignorant on certain facts that are going on in our country collectively. And our children and our immigration crime is two of those things that they keep hushed, and I don't know why. If you guys knew how much SAST was going on here in this country with our children, you would be shocked. And I want to take the ST back. It's not as common as the ST or the SA. The SA. But these kids are being kidnapped. And they're not being told that to you. We have a lot of sick, twisted people that are harming our children. And that's where this next segment is coming up, because I want you to see all of this stuff. I might have broke it down. I may have to pull it back up again. But I want you to see all the stuff that we have to look at. So on this one, is this the right one? Abusive cult life. This is probably not the right. Oh, yeah. Ohio girl found, kidnapped, man arrested. Buckeye police see clues in possible abduction. Ohio teen found in Virginia, a man arrested. North New Hampshire, a man accused of murdering mother and kidnapping daughters. Undocumented citizen arrested in Virginia for Ohio teens kidnapping. Additional charges pending. Man jailed for devastating A and R. And so this is just one day. This is just a 24-hour search. And look how many pages we've got. So this is not the only page that we have for this particular search. And we have that information here. This is becoming a little disturbing as to why we are not hearing this on our national chains. Why are these being silenced? Why are they being swept under the rug? This was one that was just published yesterday afternoon, on the heels of Laken Riley. And this is not leading the news airways right now on all the main stations. Ohio girl found in Bedford County after being kidnapped. Man arrested. Ohio girl was found in Bedford County on Monday after being kidnapped by a man in February, according to the Bedford County sheriff. Is that sheriff? Hold on, let me get back up here. Sheriff's office. Bedford authorities began assisting Butler County Sheriff's Office in an investigation into a 15-year-old girl who had been kidnapped. The teen was found at the 1200 block of Burn Bridge Road in Forest on March 4th, authorities said. It wasn't immediately clear if she had been harmed. The man who kidnapped her, which was a I can't pronounce it, Garcia Cruz, was later arrested for kidnapping and abduction. According to Bedford County Sheriff Mike Miller, He was also facing other warrants for aggravated SB or SA of a minor related to different incidents. So he had already been in trouble for this. We were told Cruz is an undocumented Mexican citizen. So he had already been arrested for a different incident, similar in nature, aggravated SA of a minor. And he was out walking the streets to kidnap another girl. Are we not? Let me put this back up. I didn't realize it wasn't up for you. Hold on a second. Why is this not doing that? There we go. This is the guy right here. I didn't realize that was on a different screen. There he is. Undocumented guy coming in here and kidnapping our child after another person. He's already done this one. Kidnaps a girl because you know what? They live a different lifestyle than we did. They have different environments, guys. It's eat or be eaten in their country. They take. You're not changing that in these people, in some of these people. If they want it, they have to take it. That is the way that they were taught. It's the way that they were living. So they come over here and they see something they want, and if we don't give it to them, they just take it. Kind of like when we tell them to come across here legally and they don't want to. They just take it. But again, another story not making every single airwaves. Why? Because this guy was known before the story was released. Finding her, they immediately released that this guy was undocumented. In Laken Riley's case, they did not tell us who they had in custody for significant, like I want to say over 36 hours. So the case took a life of its own before we realized it was an undocumented immigrant. And by that time, it was too late. The cat was out of the bag. You can't undo that. But all these other cases, our mainstream media is keeping from us. If we had a child, if something happened to a child or say gun violence, I guarantee every bit of gun violence that we see on the roads from that point forward would be brought up to every single one of these news channels. But when it comes to undocumented immigrants in our country doing harm to our citizens, the only ones that actually make the mainstream news are the ones that we didn't know were undocumented immigrants until it's too late. Seems a little suspicious to me. Now, I'm speculating. I'm just assuming that these mainstream talking heads are silencing this. Maybe they just don't know about it. Maybe they just don't know about it. But I know I'm a pimple on their butt, so they watch me every now and again, or at least have their staff watch me. So, hey, let's start talking about these illegal immigrants harming our American citizens, because you do, right? Work for us, right? I mean, you are a news organization in America touting that you are bringing news to Americans. Well, I'm an American, and I'd like to know how much violence is going on in my country from non-Americans when I have a wide open border in the South. Can you help me out, mainstream media, please? Hold on one second. Let me make sure this is not the same. And they didn't have any pictures on this one. I don't know if it's the same story or not. Oh, here's another one. Teen found. Teen found in Virginia, man arrested. There's the teen. Unbelievable. You think she wanted to go with that ugly guy? You think that was her beau? You think she wanted to deal with all that? Do you think she deserved this? I want to know who supports these sanctuary cities. Does she not matter to you? A 15-year-old girl getting kidnapped and abducted and forced to do things she should not be doing. Are we done with the sanctuary policies now? Are we done with them? I'm just curious. I'm over them. I've been over them. I never liked them. I fought here. I'd go anywhere with my protest signs and my bullhorn to stop that nonsense from this state. I'm very sorry that she had to go through what she went through because we got a lot of bleeding hearts in this country. All I know is the people that support those policies owes this lady an apology. They owe Laken Riley's family an apology. They owe all the families that have lost a loved one because of undocumented immigrants pouring across our border in our country, supporting it. They owe these families an apology. You'll never give them back what they lost because of these poor policies. But you can stop supporting these poor policies moving forward. That's what you can do. We can't go back in time and erase time, can we? We can only get better and do things better moving forward. But this girl's life matters. And at the end of the day, this is America. America first. What's better for us? We deserve to know what's in our best interest before we are concerned about anybody else's. We've got children being abused here. We've got veterans living on the streets. We've got moms that can't afford to feed their babies. We don't need any more mouths to feed in this country. Okay? We're not a welfare country. If you need help, call someone else. America's closed for welfare. We got our own people that we need to take care of. Our own people. All right, guys, I think that's about it. I don't want to go through any more. We have more of undocumented stuff. Look at to the extent. Undocumented citizen. Look at to the extent. Car. It's just, this is unnecessary. This is unnecessary. Well, let me read that article. Another one do I have? I think I got one more here. Oh. More. 13 kids rescued during joint operation. Let's listen to this.
Police partnered with the North Texas Internet Crimes Against Children in the second Operation Janice.
Officials say the operation led to the arrest of 47 suspects charged with various sex crimes against children. They also say 13 children were saved from sexual abuse and 447 electronic devices were seized, which reinforces the ability to prosecute offenders and prevent future crime.
That is a little problematic for me. In Texas, nonetheless. Where we just had the most Amber Alerts we've ever experienced ever going into a state. I want to put that in perspective as well. All right, guys, that's all I have for the Bullhorn Betty channel. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Please stay tuned for any videos that I'm going to be putting out. I've got a lot of work to do today. I'm trying to get more videos and separate. I just need to get some time and get everything figured out so I can get my scheduling proper. And we're going to be doing different things in both channels. And of course, I have the third channel. Guys, you know what I could really use your help with? I'm starting my new TikTok channel, BHB for President. Let me find it real quick. And I'd like you guys to go over there. I can't go live until I have at least, I think it's 100 people that sub up to me. And I just released, I think, a day or two ago. So I want to see if there's any possibility of you guys going over there and subbing. It's a political channel. It's not a true crime channel. So you are going to have to take that into consideration. whenever you are signing up. I mean, if you're not political, maybe it's not the channel for you. Maybe you just want to support me until I get to my 100, and then you can unsubscribe, whatever you'd like to do. But there is my TikTok channel, BHB for President. If you guys would go over there and sub me up to help me grow, I'd greatly appreciate it. This is going to be our 2024 political train. So I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you guys can support me on my new TikTok platform. I'll talk to you later. God bless everybody. Have an amazing day. Happy Hump Day. Happy Hump Day. Go have a great day.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.